tó ara ò ní tán lé alára o a tún ti gbé mi ìdè gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìṣe tiwa èyí tí mo wá gbédè yìí ọ̀rọ̀ tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ láwọn agbègbè àti láwọn ìpínlẹ̀ kọ̀ọ̀kan ni bó bá ti yá yín àròyẹnu tèmi kọ́ lẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ ẹ já lọ gbọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu àwọn tó ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ yìí bàbá wa padà dé ká tẹ̀síwájú lórí ètò ó ti yá.
The federal government has suspended the officers in charge of the maximum and minimum custodial centers, Kirikiri, Lagos State, following an audio leak indicating that cross-dresser Idris Okuneye, also known as Bobrisky, who was convicted of a crime and sentenced to 6 months in prison, was given an apartment outside the custodial center. Secretary of the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire and Immigration Services Board, Jafaru Ahmed, disclosed this in a statement in Abuja. Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, had initiated a probe of the allegations. The suspension of the officers is to allow for further investigation on the various allegations, assuring that the outcome will be made public when concluded. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has resolved to probe the bribery allegations against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Nigerian Correctional Service in the case involving Idris Okuneye.
This House further notes that the publication alleges that the Idris Okuneye, upon conviction for abuse and defacing of the Naira by the court, did not serve his time at the Nigeria Correctional Service, but was lodged outside the confines of the service. Disturbed about the damning allegations against Nigerian critical law enforcement agencies of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and the Nigerian Correctional Service, established by these hallowed chambers to fight correction and incarceration persons convicted of crime for correctional purposes, respectively.
Joining us now is Francis Enobore, former National PRO, Nigerian Prisons. He will be joined by Bishop Kayode Williams, Director General, Prison Rehabilitation Mission. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the morning show.
Thank you.
Okay, well, simple question. I mean, Bishop Williams, you are, involved in prison reform and all of that. Mr. Enobore has been a PRO. Now, when the nomenclature of the Nigerian prisons was changed, to change it to Nigerian Correctional Service, the whole purpose was to place emphasis on the correctional value of imprisonment and rehabilitation rather than punishment. And now we have a situation where a gentleman known as Bobrisky was sentenced to 6 months imprisonment in April. And in the wisdom of the leaders of Nigerian Correctional Service, they decided that, well, this is a correctional place. And they decided to arrange to put him in an apartment outside the prison so that he could make phone calls, he could contact his godfathers. Isn't this in line with the idea of, rehabilitation, correction, rather than putting a socialite like Idris Okuneye inside the Kirikiri medium prison? I'll start with you, Bishop Williams, and then let Mr. Enobore also help us to unpack this emerging conundrum.
Well, I want to first of all appreciate what you people are doing, enlightening humanity. Let me go straight to the issue of prison. And I will start from the area of giving a private accommodation to Mr. Idris. First of all, let me explain the categorization of the prison setup. Because the prison, which we call now Correctional Service, has buildings that accommodate convicted criminals and awaiting trials, including condemned criminals. When they enter the prison for the first time, they have to put them on proper recording. Who is this inmate? Where is it to be kept? This man we are discussing today is neither here nor there as a man or a woman to be recognized. Are we going to say he is a man or is a woman? Now, thank God he openly confessed to the judge that tried her at the magistrate court.
Her or him?
Her or him. You see, the confusion is on. That is where I don't want us to over-celebrate the issue. If I explain the setting up of the accommodation is for condemned prisoners, CC, those who have been sentenced to death. They are apart. They should not mingle with other inmates. The second accommodation is convicted inmates who are the owner of the prison because awaiting trial has not been tried. The accommodation that is provided for all male, are they going to bring Idris with a transgender body look to go and sleep in the general cell with general prisoners? That is where it comes in. That the first thing the record will do is to now say, okay, how do we treat this type of woman? She's not a woman, neither a man.
Neither fish nor frog.
So no, that...
Well, she identified as a man. She's a man. Identified as a man is in court.
That is...
So that's a man.
That's
a man.
The Nigerian law does not...
It's not a man.
Understand
he's a transgender.
Transsexuality.
No, but he
identified as a man.
But what of our body picture?
But the correctional center is a legal entity in Nigeria.
Exactly. So they now look for a way not to disturb, because she can cause heavy riot.
No. He.
You see now.
He identified
as a man.
So we'll have to take
what I'm telling you how I was in the prison. I spent 10 years in the prison.
Okay.
I am not telling you stories. All those stories you are hearing, majority of those who are contributing don't know anything that is going on in the prison.
Yeah, but your time was in the 70s.
Whether 70s.
The time is different now.
I was in the prison day before yesterday. I was at Kirikiri maximum. Not for his problem, but for the correctional message you mentioned now, which they are introducing. Now they now say, okay, how do we do it? They now say, okay, let us give him a special place. It is like that in the prison. They call it for protective custody, because they will tear him to pieces because of his body look. He looks like a woman. He moves like a woman. So for her to go to any cell, there are chronic homosexual inmates that are very hungry to go to any length to tear anybody, even the ones that are not transgender. They try to rape them.
What would they tear?
That is why I'm saying the purpose of giving her that how.
Okay. Bishop. Okay.
I don't know how to call her Bishop.
Let's go to Mr. Enobore, former National PRO Nigerian prisons before he became Correctional Service. Mr. Enobore, and now the Services Board, has suspended about 4 senior persons, 5 actually, in the Nigerian Correctional Service. Just tell us, as a former PRO, is it that the Nigerian Correctional Service, do you people run, what do they call it, Airbnb?
Yeah.
Do you people run Airbnb for inmates? Because I recall that once upon a time in this country, one man was imprisoned in this same Kirikiri, and within 9 months, his wife was pregnant, and there was naming ceremony and speculations that he was even allowed to go and attend the naming ceremony as a bona fide father of the child. So are you people now running Airbnb as part of an extension of the prison?
Well, thank you very much, Doctor, and thanks for having me. I want to also appreciate the Reverend gentleman for his input. To answer your question straight, there is nothing like apartment, separate apartment, private apartment, or anything special in the prison. The Honorable Minister, what he has done, has just demonstrated that he is someone that is courageous, he is methodical in his approach, and he is a system person. To that extent, I want to commend his effort because this is how systems are built all over the world, by galvanizing the support and participation of the public in running a credible system. Having said that, let us not forget that the allegation or whatever is being pushed out to the public is still in the realm of speculation, of allegation. I don't want us to preempt what the panel will come up with. To drive the seriousness of the Honorable Minister, he appointed a permanent secretary in the ministry to chair that investigation panel. And I want to believe that if there is any merit in it, of course, he will take appropriate action according to the law. Now, to stress the classification procedure that the Reverend gentleman talked about, we have that as our operational procedure. As an inmate is coming into the facility, the first thing you do is to profile that individual for the safety of the person coming in and the general prison environment. You want to know his background, his or her background, how you can facilitate smooth and humane custody, and if he's a convict, how do you extend rehabilitation and reformation program to cover the period the person is going to spend behind bars, so that by the time he's coming out of the custodial center, he's a better off human being. To come to the case of Mr. Okuneye Idris, yes, I don't want, I'm a little careful not to be preemptive of what the investigation panel will come up with. Like the Reverend gentleman said, you came in bodily showing you are a woman. Yes, you confessed in the court that you are a man. Everybody knows that you keep people, men, behind bars for years. Some of them are unrepentant homosexuals. Some of them, even those that are not homosexuals, they just want to relieve themselves by any means, and you are coming into their midst in that body formation. There is no doubt that if care is not taken, you have a very serious security situation in your on your hands. So I don't want to proceed more on that because it's still being investigated.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Mr. Enobore. I'd like to ask you, this is not the first time the Nigerian Correctional Service has come on the spotlight for allegations of corruption. Recall that Fisayo Shoyombo, an investigative journalist, had done an expose where he himself had found a way into the Correctional Service, and he exposed some of the, what's going on in there. Nothing was done in terms of, I don't know whether an investigation was instituted and any reforms made. What is the situation of things currently, and to what extent are you confident that, it might even be a cartel where people make money to put people in special cells and special prisons exist? What is the prison service or the correctional service doing about this? So if you're saying this is still an allegation, at least we have a full-on investigation where we didn't hear a lot from. Is there an enabling environment for this to thrive in the Nigerian Correctional Service? And for Bishop Kayode Williams, I hear you in saying that, okay, they couldn't categorize him, so they put him in a special arrangement, protective custody. Would any other Nigerian in his situation receive the same treatment without collecting money? Or does this involve paying a certain amount as you would do in a hotel? I'll speak to Mr. Enobore first and then Bishop Williams next. Okay,
thank you very much. You see, on the issue of Okuneye Idris, I said I want to be careful so that I don't preempt the outcome of the investigation panel. Having said that, I recall that I mentioned that when you profile an inmate that is coming into your facility, it is for multiple reasons. Number one is to protect the inmate. Number two, to protect the environment he is coming into. Number three, to make way for appropriate deployment of reformation and rehabilitation program. If you are protecting someone, because if, for instance, he's exposed to such a hazardous environment and is violated and the security issue comes up, you are going to be on the spotlight. I don't want to subscribe to that insinuation.
No, Mr. Nobore, I didn't talk about Mr. Idris Okuneye. I referred to Fisayo Shoyombo's expose.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Yeah,
I'd like you to speak to that.
I understand.
Yes, please.
Yes, I was just going to address that. You see, it is not true that whatever investigation procedure that is established to unravel any allegation is treated with levity. There are a lot of programs and administrative procedures that are being taken to address whatever anybody brings up, either as an observation or whether you carry out an investigation procedure. Even the system itself has internal mechanism for detecting this out of character behavior. And of course, if you have been following, you recall when I was in service, a lot of officers are either dismissed or reduced in rank for various reasons that the service considered out of character.
All right, very quickly.
It's not, you may not come up to say every day.
Very quickly, from that investigation, was there anything that happened? Yes. From that particular, was there anything that happened?
You see,
because it was very detailed. He even went in, showed a few clips.
When you make an allegation, yes. When you make an allegation, you subject it to investigation. It is only when it is established to be true that you take action. You don't need to. For instance, I followed that Mr. Shoyimbo's what do I call it? He said an investigation that he went into the correctional service center in Ikoyi. He saw where people were buying drugs. They even promised that they were going to erase his name from the prisoner's record if he paid some amount of money. And the question I asked then was, why did he not follow through to actually pay the money and see if it will be possible for his name to be erased from the record of prisoners? Then I now also added that the record of prisoners does not start and end in Ikoyi. You have a copy with the controller of Lagos State, you have a copy with the zonal coordinator, Zone A, you have a copy with the Directorate of Operations, you have a copy with the Controller General, and you have a copy in our information desk. Where will the person penetrate to erase the record of a prisoner from all these platforms? And I also stated then that it may Soyobo may have just been scammed. All right. Emails there may have just told him a bundle of lies that he should pay. They would do it.
All right, so, let me come, because it's interesting, because how someone who wasn't convicted found his way into prison. It's the same conundrum as to how he would have been able to do that. But let me come to Bishop Williams about that. So, do people get special treatment? Do they pay this special protective service? Do they pay for it, or is it? And would this be given to? Because we've seen the state of the correctional service. So, is there a different set of law for a different set of people in Nigeria?
The he you are talking about is trying to
the shim.
Shim, or whatever we call it. So you in prison there is single cell. Prison within the prison. Single cells where an offender that commit another offense in the because the prison itself is another kingdom. They have their own setup. So we have single cells. Inmates that are of that nature. That's not the first person. We have Afro from Benin in those days. That is an homosexual. He was kept in the single cell. The single cell is not general cell. It's a separate prison. Within the prison, Baba Obasanjo was not kept with general prisoners. Most of the governors, what are we trying to dodge out of this thing? Prison is not a cult center now. Why can't we open up all the whole thing there? There is nothing. And when they are going to put them there, they are putting them for their own protective custody.
No, Bishop, maybe you didn't get the point where we're trying to establish.
Okay.
Idris Okuneye was kept out of the correctional center.
How is it possible?
No, that is what is being alleged.
I know it's an allegation.
So have you ever had an experience of that ever happening before?
I know it's possible they can take an inmate to hospital, come back, but to say they will a convicted inmate, I spent 10 years in the prison.
Okay, so what time did you spend? What year? Between what year to what year?
1971.
1971. 1971
immediate-
to what year did you spend in the prison?
71.
No, what year were you in prison? What was
From
the year
71
span?
now, the Dr. Ishola matter.
I know. no, I know. I know what I'm trying to say.
You are talking
so
of
you,
when
the
I was in the
70s.
prison. Immediately I came out
Bishop, Ayeshi Damba, yeah.
I take it for-
No, I'm
I take
sorry.
it- I
The
want to
prisons were
enlighten
still
you.
good. Bishop, if you spent 10 years, you probably left in the 80s. The prisons were still good.
I left in 1982.
You left in 82. Nigeria was still good then. Today, it's yam pepper scatter.
I never removed my hand because of my experience in the prison. I started an organization. I visit prison on daily basis.
Okay, Bishop.
And that is why I'm giving you this.
Bishop, thank you for this. But
Yes.
you might not have an understanding of what's going on in the prison. I will come back to him. When we say some things, you'll be shocked. Sir, as a spokesperson, former spokesperson of the prisons, I know investigation is currently on as regards that 15 million. But have there been instances of these arrangements where people are gotten flat and Controller General of some sort give you a safe landing where they will do all the things they need to do for you in prison that you are present when you're in another apartment? And I have the reason why I asked it, because there have been allegations. This allegation is on ground that is still currently investigated. Secondly, you were talking about various segmentations of treatments. Is it everybody that is giving this treatment? Because if my memory serves me right, the likes of Seun Kuti, that is also a known person in society, was still made to go through the whole rigor when he was being kept in detention. So, is it that there are some special breeds of public figure over the other? Because if my memory serves right, Seun Kuti is a public figure, but he was put in detention till his matter was sorted out. Those are just the two questions I'd like to ask you. Have you heard of any scenario like that where they take somebody out of the confines of the prison custody?
Thank you very much. I have never heard of any such arrangement to collect money from an inmate and keep him or her out of the prison to a place that is not designated by the trial court. I have never heard of it. I've never heard of it, to be very candid.
So you think
And then
this
to
can never happen?
the
Is that what you
issue of
think?
Segmentation. To me, I'm surprised at the allegation, but like I said, it's still in the realm of allegation.
Okay.
It's being investigated, and I'm very happy that the Honorable Minister decided to choose a permanent secretary in the ministry to lead the investigation panel. So I'm very sure that they will not hold anything back in reporting what the situation actually is.
The question of segmentation,
The issue of classification. Classification. Classification is done for every inmate that comes into the custodial center. The reason, just like I said, is for you to understand the person that is coming into your custody. You need to plan from day one, like we used to say in the corrections balance. The day an inmate comes into your custody is the day you plan his exit. What that means is you got to understand who he is. In fact, there is something that is called dynamic security, which is operational in most climes now. That is establishing friendly relationship with an inmate to enable you understand his idiosyncrasies, to understand where he stands, his needs and risk assessment, so that you are able to profile him to ensure that what you are supposed to provide for him to encourage his safe and humane custody is provided. What he is supposed to do as an inmate is also made known to him.
Okay, so the question I asked, please, I just need a direct answer.
Yes.
Are some celebrities more important than some? Shehu Kuti went through the full round of the cell system, but Bobrisky cannot go through that system. I'm just asking, are some more special than the others?
No, there is no special treatment. The only thing, let me clarify an issue here. You know, like I said, imprisonment does not mean that anybody that is coming in, you just push the person through the rough terrain to whatever happens to the person, you are not bothered. What we do as part of the classification procedure, we classify you based on your criminal record, the type of crime you committed, how often you commit crime, the possibility of your infesting the custodial environment with your criminal behavior. Based on this understanding, we classify you and then begin your treatment. So if you are saying, for instance, if we have a bank executive or an ex-governor brought into custody, you don't expect that you will lump this individual with a gang of armed robbers, kidnappers, and other cultists. What you find at the end of the day will be a security situation that you never expected. So we do classification based on the criminal record.
Let me come to Bishop. Bishop, real quickly. In going forward, because I know you are centered about rehabilitation and all of that, I want you to talk about the prison system in general. You still go to the prisons every day. We hear about the deplorable state of situation. Do you think this current Nigerian prison can truly be correctional?
Yes, it can be correctional. Though there is a lot of problem. We must not shy away from it. We are not there yet. Because of this reformation, myself and His Royal Majesty Obadira Kwadwo Joshua, who is the chairman governing council of our organization, we traveled to the United Kingdom and we went to Houston, Texas. At England, we were able to visit prison. We see and saw the way they treated inmates. Could you believe when Kabiyesi, myself and the Oloris enter, one of the inmates demanded permission of Kabiyesi to allow our Olori to take photograph with him. But you know, in Nigeria, they will ask that prisoner to be locked up for making such a request. So what is happening now? And I am telling you, changes are taking place, but it has not gone to, like I said here, you see, 12 inmates of Kirikiri maximum.
They graduated from Open University.
From Open University. Yeah. And they were celebrated. The commissioner of education was there day before yesterday. The commissioner for works was
so
there.
You're saying with the current system we can actually have correction, but we need to fix the problems we also have on ground.
Yes, we have a lot of loaded problems, more than these stories.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you, Bishop. Thank you so much.
So good to have you with us in the studio, Mr. Francis Enebore. Of course, I believe that the conversation continues. It's not yet the end, and until we see the end of this investigation and the outcome thereof from the Nigerian Correctional Service, then we wouldn't rest on this. Time for a short break now.
Ẹ máa káàbọ̀ o, gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ wa nínú ilé tẹ̀ ń gbádùn àwọn ètò wa, ó dẹ̀ dá mi lójú pé òyì tẹ́ wò yìí ẹ ti rí kókó gbámúnú ẹ̀. Ẹ má jẹ́ kí n ṣe wàhálà jù nítorí pé èmi mọ̀ pé èèyàn ọlọ́gbọ́n olóye gbajúmọ̀ èèyàn lẹ́yìn tẹ̀ wá nílé tẹ̀ ń wo àwọn ètò wa. Ẹ ṣáà máa bá wa ṣàsọwọ́ bá a ṣe mú wá fún yín lẹ́lẹ́yẹ̀yọ. Títí wá dìgbà míì táwọn ìjọba àfojúrin lórí ìkànnì Wo TV pẹ̀lú àkọ́tún ètò gbáǹkọ́gbì míì. Ẹ ti mọ̀ mí kí má wulẹ̀ dárúkọ ara mi mọ́. Èmi ń lọ, mò ń padà bọ̀. Ẹ̀yin náà ẹ má kó lórí ìkànnì Wo TV, àmọ́ ẹ má bá mi like, ẹ máa share, kẹ́dẹ̀ máa subscribe. Títí wá dìgbà yẹn ńkọ́? Ire o.